and welcome to another episode of Match Analysis. Today we're going to be hopping back over to the Nightmare Series, which is the event that I host for the Xbox side of things. And in today's match, we've got Izzy, the young prodigy, versus Zyctheshock here. Zyctheshock, a very, very talented player. He's going to be rocking Kung Lao on this one. And first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at variations. So this is going to be Kung Lao versus RoboCop. And from Zyctheshock, we've got Buzzsaw and Possessed Hat. So Buzzsaw gives really good Oki. It's also a really kind of annoying tool when he just kind of sets it up. You can't approach. If you get a hit, the Buzzsaw will kind of still catch you and hit you afterward. It doesn't go away when he gets hit, for example. It's still, once it's out there, it's happening. And then the Possessed Hat gives him this weird hat projectile trajectory that forces it to be blocked, right? It's no longer a high that you can just duck. It becomes a bit of a mid. And when he does it on point blank on block, I don't know if it's safe, but it essentially uses the same animation as a normal hat toss. But a second spooky spirit hat comes out of nowhere and will catch people off guard trying to challenge. So, and you'll see that potentially come up here in this. It did definitely come up in Zyctheshock's run. I don't know if it happens in this set particularly, but definitely a thing that'll happen. And then here from Izzy, we've got low auto 9. Many would say mandatory for RoboCop players. The flamethrower, also a really strong tool on the kit. It, at range, can be made to be safe, and it ends up giving him some plus frames as a restand, which typically, when coupled with the command grab, is a quite deadly combination. But Izzy doesn't have the command grab. He has the armor-breaking air OCP charge, so he's going to be flying across the screen with that. The thing about that move, though, is it is safe on block no matter what. It is always safe on block. Even if you hit them at like the top, if you like the peak of your height or your jump height, or when it's on lower to the ground, it doesn't matter. You're always safe with that. So the air OCP charge is an interesting mobility tool. Doesn't get a lot of use, but we'll see. Also, thank you so much for the follow, Live Lil Gaming. Glad you're having fun checking out some match analysis here. Yes, and it gets you out of the corner. The ability for RoboCop to get out of the corner and then get that real estate behind him to go back to shooting. That is exactly what Robo's looking for. So, opening move here from Izzy is going to be to... Well, I guess not the opening move, but one of the things that he's going to be willing to do here is he wants to use this rifle on block. This is, in my opinion, one of the best pushback tools in the game. On block, okay, 1, 2, 3, look at this distance. It's got some heavy recovery. He's got to throw the rifle back here and whatever, but... I think that, if it's flawless block is unsafe. I did not know that about it, but interesting to know. So it forces your opponents to flawless pocket, though. That's pretty cool. I like that interaction, that mechanic. So there is some care to be had then with the air OCP charge. But it's still, and I wouldn't say great, but it's still all right. But, dude, this pushback here is so, so good. Like, for a zoner in particular, this is exactly what he wants. He wants this giant screen space between you and him. And he's going to use it to start some zoning here. Now, here's the thing, though. Once that Buzzsaw gets out there, it's happening. That Buzzsaw is coming at you once it gets out there. Ooh, tried to read the jump. Wasn't quite at the right range for it. Nice air charge to get over that Buzzsaw there, though. That's actually a smart use of that. And I think that Zyctheshock was not looking for it as well. Ooh, and so that's the problem, though, here. So this is, I was saying it's a good pushback tool, but it has a weakness to it. And that weakness is that the first shot is a high. So what happens is Zyctheshock ducks underneath this first shot. I don't know if there are other strings that jail into it, but this one, which is his mid, probably his better string or best string, is not it. Does not jail properly and allows Zyctheshock to get underneath these shots. So because he gets underneath these shots, he's going to go ahead and get a full punish here. Now, the other thing to note, though, is if you fuck that up, if you fuck up punishing that or ducking underneath that and you time it wrong and you stand up and get hit, that's a crushing blow. That rifle has a crushing blow if you get counter hit at point blank. So it's a risk to just do it in general, but there's an added bonus of you're risking like 30% into also just getting knocked back to full screen still. But you got to be careful.
Told me that he can literally go into a normal straight into the.
And this is a clean pickup of damage here. Breakaway comes out to stop it short, but still pretty nicely done there by Zyke. And there's once that Buzzsaw's out, you have to deal with it. Now he has a projectile parry. I don't think it comes up, but he can actually absorb it. But if you're absorbing the buzzsaw, then you're letting Kung Lao move in behind it, or you're at minimum not hurting him. You're not shooting him, you're not damaging him, you're not forcing him to block anything. So absorbing it while an option, he's got the life lead, so he doesn't need to like protect his health. He needs to make sure that he just keeps on whittling Zyctheshock down. Teleports in. Okay, big damage here. Now Zyctheshock, I think the reason that he doesn't go for anything is, of course, because he doesn't have meter. That's a big reason here when he gets this opening here. But the other thing, too, that he's looking for is he's got Fatal Blow. After this combo right here, Izzy is no longer safe. If Izzy gets hit, it can turn into a Fatal Blow kill. Ooh, that could have been it. Not going to go for it, though. Another throw follows up. Able to cling in there because of that bonus health. And tries to teleport in after the possessed hat. Nice poke there from Izzy, though, to get out of it. So Izzy is able to hang in there, stay alive, claims round 1. There's that air ops charge, too, going for it. And the charge, most players don't expect it. You know, they don't see it very often. So Zyctheshock hasn't been dealing with it. Safe on block there, no flawless block. Big whiff. Izzy's going to take just an easy, quick punish, and I like this setup afterward. After the flamethrower, this standing 4 is guaranteed. You can do the standing 4, and even, like, you can see, it doesn't even look like it's hitting him, but it's got, like, a bigger hurt box than you would anticipate. So it actually is forced to be blocked, and you can put a grenade in it and all of this stuff, and now another situation where RoboCop is at a much more comfortable position. Granted, this particular position is perfecto for a jump in, right? This is the jump arc. But at that same token, if you know that your opponent knows that they're at a perfect jump position, RoboCop has an anti-air tool specifically for dealing with people jumping at him. So it's a read that Izzy could make if it came up. Zyctheshock doesn't go for it, but that is something that, you know, RoboCop... Zoners are typically, like, if you're mindlessly throwing projectiles, your biggest weakness is someone jumping over one and opening you up. But many zoners have a tool that also covers that spot as well. So you can, you know, players want to get over the zoning. They don't want to block it because they still take damage. Jumping over a projectile means no damage at all. So there's a lot of value to jumping over a projectile. But as a player, you can also, you know, bait that out and punish them accordingly. Bang, bang, bang. Big shots coming through. Shots fired, but even though he hit him with that, still has to worry about the buzzsaw coming at him. Zyctheshock running out of health here as well now. Ooh, tries to jump. I like Izzy's use of the Amplify here. He saw Zyctheshock jump. And because he sees that, he decides, okay, well, I just need to make sure that my active frames stay out longer. He's got the meter to do it, so he'll spend it for the Amplify and ends up catching him. And then, like Dr. Omnipotent saying, air ops charge right out of there. The OCP charge keeps him safe, and now back to running away, back to getting to the other side of the screen and just unloading the clip into Zyctheshock, and he will finally get the hit there needed. Zyctheshock was blocking much of that, but eventually they get caught, and Izzy takes game 1. So here we go, game number 2. Now, Izzy, or Zyctheshock, what he does here is he goes for a counter pick. So Zyctheshock's response to being zoned out is, okay, if you're going to zone me out, then I will pick a character that does a fantastic job at dealing with zoning, right? Now he's got access to a teleport, which means the zoning is super risky. Granted, low auto 9 will force the first hit of it to whiff because he can duck underneath it, but you do have to worry about the Amplify, as well as, you know, like the grenade launcher and the rifle are no longer as safe of tools to use because of the teleport. Flamethrower for AA is risky if they break away from it. That is true. I wasn't looking at Zyctheshock's meter to know if he had breakaway, but yes, it is very risky if they break away because then they can block it or even wait for it to fully whiff and punish you afterward. Lots of gunshots here. But there's that teleport. Didn't let it rip fully, but if he would have, it would have been ducked by the low auto 9. That low auto 9 has such great utility aspect to it, too. Ooh, caught him. Zyctheshock has the fatal blow, and this is a straight up counter pick. So there it is. There is the exact thing. The low auto 9 ducking underneath the teleport, but because the amplified he gets stuck in the stance longer, and the amplify from the teleport is a mid. You cannot duck that. So Zyctheshock is still able to get the launcher here, and he just goes straight into fatal blow. Now this isn't going to kill, especially with Robocop's extra health. Robocop is going to keep him alive here. Particularly the extra health, like specifically the extra health keeps him alive on that one. But just gonna jab him out, no defensive meter to stop it. So Zyctheshock willing to just kind of stagger the strings and find an opening that way. Dude, that is not an easy combo to do right here. This link right here, amplified spear into the neutral jump punch. Not very easy to do, but it's great damage. It's probably easier to do Robocop because he's really tall, but some of the shorter characters, it is not super easy to do on. Okay, teleporting out, and that teleport cancel coming really in handy, but it costs him defensive meter, so you'll see now he can't do the teleport cancel. Any teleport now needs to be a commitment, but the meter's not gone forever, so he has it back. In that meantime, while he didn't have it, though, Izzy was able to get quite a bit of chip damage. And there it is. He gets in. Izzy going for what looked like a flamethrower, either anti-air attempt or even just a flamethrower in the neutral to just try to hope that Zyctheshock was going to walk into it. I mean, point blank right here, I'm actually surprised he didn't punish it with that poke, but at this range, yeah, this looks like an anti-air attempt with the flamethrower. But because Zyctheshock can alter his air mobility, now Scorpion's coming in from behind you. You are shooting nobody. And he does the teleport cancel, so he gets it's a full punish now. It's not just the teleport opener. He gets to do full string into teleport. Costs him a little bit extra resources, but those defensive meters come back so quickly that it's not that big of a deal. It's much more of a big deal when you spend your defensive meter on breakaway, and that you oftentimes don't have it for breakaway when you're playing Scorpion. All that teleport canceling means you don't have your breakaway as often as you might like for times when you may need it. But we're talking about Robocop. You don't need breakaway for Robocop. He doesn't do big combo damage. You can let him hit whatever combo damage he wants. You'll be fine. So Zyctheshock able to keep it together. The teleport cancels proving to be very deadly for Robocop. He definitely got in there multiple times, and a straight up counter pick there from Zyctheshock. So counter picking works. Robocop is... While I like to troll and say Robocop is fine, I do believe he is fine. But Robocop is fine. He does have some weaknesses, and those are particularly exploitable. I think one of the things with Robocop is that Robocop has a very particular game plan that they strove to implement with him, and that's he's a zoner. He's a dedicated zoner. He has a command grab and the flamethrower, which work up close, but his primary tools seem to be really heavy on the zoning side, which means that if you're playing a character that's a really strong zoner, zoning is what they do best, then characters that get around zoning very well can really prove to be a thorn in your side. Another case in point would be Jade. She avoids tons of stuff that Robocop can do and is a really, really hard counter pick to Robocop. Robocop players will, many of them will say, I pick a different character for the Jade matchup because I don't know what to do. Like, my character can't do anything. The tools that they want my character to use literally do not work. And Robocop's one of the few zoners that doesn't have an anti-zoning tool, right? Cetrion has the Vine Grab, Shang has the Corpse Drop. Those are tools that go through counter zoning measures, but not the case for Robo. Alright, well, let me go back to what I was just talking about in there. So, here we go. Opening salvos here from these players. Let's just get to the start of it. This is also a switch, so there's a lot of character switching here happening. Izzy switching over to Kano now. Immediate teleport cancel off the rip. A common tactic from Scorpion players. And now he's got the acid on him. So because he's got the acid on him here, does down 4 work on Jade? Isn't it a projectile? What? I bet that's what the joke is. Yeah, Robo, that's a big struggle. I would assume that it doesn't go through it. And here, look at that. He actually did something unsafe right here. He goes for the vacuum here, And because he's standing in the fire, and because Zyth is on fire, has the acid on him, when he goes to punish this, which by typical scenarios, this would be your turn. Oh, wow, it actually beats her glow. That's pretty cool. I did not know that. But he gets sucked into it, tries to punish, and not able to do it. And in fact, I don't think that he actually went for a punish because he kind of knew that he wouldn't be able to get something, but he tried to swing with a sword hit that would maybe get the sword across the fire and not himself, but the follow-ups from that end up putting him in the fire, and he's able to get a combo out of it, right? It's not just that sort of saved Izzy from being hit, but it allowed Zyctheshock to get hit. What kind of reward for your offense is that? Granted, that's how it should work. I'm not complaining, but like that is tough when you have to then question your own offense. Like, oh shit, if I have the acid on me, I can't even try to hurt him. Like, this is bad. This is bad news. You have to rely on zoning, maybe. Not gonna work for Scorpion. Restand there. Zyctheshock is absolutely running out of health here. Goes for the lumbar check. That time he'll find it with the tick throw. And here we go. Izzy on the board first round. The Kano coming out strong for him too. Kano is a character that I think fares fairly well in this matchup. I don't think this is an awful matchup for Kano by any stretch. He's a character that, you know, if Kano is a dirtbag and he plays dirty, so even though Scorpion can control the pace oftentimes, ultimately Scorpion has to get in and to do whatever he wants to do, and once he's in, that's when Kano can start to play dirty. Like, the ranges where Scorpion ultimately needs to be effective is also the ranges where Kano just gets to be a dipshit and a fuckhead, and now you gotta worry about it. So, I mean, that's the design of the character, though. I think that's honestly Kano's design of being a dirtbag, and the way that it is reflected in his gameplay is really, really fun, and it's a perfect meshing of gameplay meets character design. This is going to be full chip out setups here too. What a beautiful setup, and this is the dirty stuff I'm talking about here from Kano. This is straight up dirtbag stuff. Kano, right here, you are dead. Izzy knows you're dead. Right now, you are dead. And this is a situation that on paper, you look at like, oh no, this is survivable. Look at how much health I've got left. I've got 191 health. What do you mean I'm dead? I mean you're fucking dead. Because even after the fire or whatever catches him, because he gets set on fire when the fire lands and pushes him into 100 health left, 10%. I mean, Izzy's got a 10% chip setup here. That's what Izzy has. Because you're standing in the fire, you have to deal with this. It doesn't even combo, but even on block, it doesn't matter. This is plus frames, so he's plus right here. Half of your health that you had is now gone. You've got 5% left now, and he's going to go down one Kano ball, which you have to respect, and it's enough to kill. And there's still fire here. It was still going to do a little bit extra. Like, he still also had, well, he didn't have meter for an amplify on top of it, but, like, Izzy was definitely going to continue to burn you out. That is such a dirty setup. And the other thing about it, too, is that because he did back one, like, this is not a case of, when you look at all these resources that Zyth is sitting on, it means nothing. This is his armor break. There was no breaking away out of it after the jump kick, okay? That's the first problem here. So you can't armor break out of it. You can't spend your defensive meter on an armor break or on a breakaway because you're going to get your armor broken. Okay, well, you also just got restood. So now you can't spend your meter on a get-up attack. You can't spend your meter on a roll. All of these resources are useless to you once Kano catches you in this particular setup. You're just dead. Yo, what's going on, Shorts? Very, very dirty setup there from Izzy. And, I mean, that's the power of Kano. I think that's the fun stuff for Kano. That is what the Kano players want to do. If they can establish a scenario where they can get away with that, damn well best believe they're going to try to. And it is satisfying. It was fun to watch. It makes me want to play Kano, to be honest. I should hit up Cleve for some Kano lessons, because this character is pretty wild. I played Kano in MKX. I was a Kano main in MKX, so I just wasn't getting the same feeling of fun out of him. But seeing now that we're in the customs era, what some of the stuff you can do with this character, pretty wild. So here we go, though. Now we do see Zyctheshock switching characters. So this has been one of the first times, too, I think, in match analysis that we've had a significant back and forth in terms of characters, right? Zyctheshock has made a switch on every loss, and Izzy doing the same thing, right? Like, they are all about looking for an answer for the characters that they are up against, and it doesn't need to be an answer that their character has. So he goes back over to Kung Lao. So he doesn't like the Robocop matchup for Kung Lao, but he is comfortable with the Kano matchup for Kung Lao, and Zyctheshock is going to need this victory if he's going to stay alive. This is losers finals, and Izzy is right now on the break. Ooh, big drop. Who gets him with the suck, even at that range here. This is a whiffed uppercut from Zyctheshock. Now, Zyctheshock has mentioned that what's actually happening here is he's trying to get the buzzsaw input. I don't know if it's down 2 or if it's down back 2. I don't actually know what the buzzsaw input is, but nonetheless, he's trying to get the buzzsaw input, and he's getting uppercuts. And this is something that will probably happen more than just this time right here. But even with this whiffed uppercut at about half screen, right? This is quite the valley between the two of these. The suck goes far enough. Punish. So he's going to pay for that. That input error costs him 20%. Oh, dude, look at this, too. This is more dirt from Kano here. He gets him with the acid now. So now the acid is on him. The fire is on the ground. Izzy doesn't even need to hit you. He goes for a suck, and even though the suck is blocked, it pulls him into the fire. So it triggers the alchemy or the combustion of having fire mixed with acid, and now you have an unblockable and you burn. And that is such a dirty, dirty setup there that even when you block it, you're screwed. Like, you can't get out of it. It's not happening. A really, really cool tool that Kano has access to. And it's all dirty stuff. Now, he doesn't get to net big damage out of it. That's the thing. But sometimes you don't need the big damage. Sometimes you just need to burn him alive to finish him off, right? Sometimes it's just that little hit. And in a game where defensive meter keeps people alive at the end, that's a way to get around that. I don't care how much defensive meter you got. Now, this time wasn't quite close enough, but even here, when he's not close enough, what's happening here, he's going for the setup again, right? He's going for the suck to pull them into it. But even though it doesn't end up happening, Zyth can't punish. If Zyth punishes this, he will hit the fire. Kung Lao doesn't have some magically long, like, he doesn't have a sword or some weapon that he can use that will hit Kano and not put him in the fire. He uses his hands and his feet. He uses his hat a little bit, but it's a lot of hands and feet. And because of that fact, he has to get in. So he can't afford to punish this. And Zyctheshock wisely doesn't. In fact, Zyctheshock goes for the only move that he has that doesn't use his hands or his feet. He goes for the spirit stance moves. Those use spirits and energy and chi or whatever, I don't know. But that doesn't have a hurt box associated with it. He can't put that and get it. That doesn't get set on fire if he puts it in the fire. Unfortunately, it's not quite quick enough, though, so not going to happen. But I like that Zyctheshock is thinking outside the box. He's realized what doesn't work, so now he's looking for something different to see if it will work. Look at this. Chip avoided. This is huge here. So he's just trying to kill him. There's no health left here. Tries to chip him out. Not going to be able to get the chip damage here with the suck for the kill. And this is a punish. And Zyctheshock has Fatal Blow as well. So, like, that's a big risk trying to kill him. And he's just going to let rip with the Fatal Blow. I believe this ends up doing enough damage to kill here as well. Kung Lao, if you don't... I don't know. Did he not spin? I think that might be part of what's happened here. I don't actually know. Oh, no, he does spin. He didn't do a normal spin, though. He just went for one spin. So he didn't do, like, a bunch of spins. So he doesn't have a bunch of scaling on this, which allows the Fatal Blow to actually churn out enough damage for a kill. 46% for one bar and a Fatal Blow. That is not bad. And that's another case of if you get touched, when their opponent has Fatal Blow, it could very well cost you the whole round. And even half health is not enough to save you, or about half health. Look at that damage, 32%. Keeps the pressure going. Zyctheshock has some really heavy momentum here. The cancel catches his opponent too. That's the thing about this build, that Spirit Stance allows you to have really ambiguous defense. You can cancel your strings at all these random times. You can confirm into launchers. And Zyctheshock just a complete change of pace here. We saw Izzy controlling things early on, and Zyctheshock had to really claw back from the brink of defeat to get the first round. And then in the second round, Zyctheshock just locks Kano down in the corner and shuts him down completely. So that is going to mean a game 5 here for Zyctheshock. So one chance left. And Izzy, though, can go back to RoboCop, right? Izzy's already proved that RoboCop versus Kung Lao is a matchup that A, Zyctheshock doesn't like, that's why he switched off of it, and B, a matchup that he can win. He won that game. So we'll see if Izzy ends up switching back over to RoboCop, and look at this. RoboCop, an officer, is back on the scene. So the counter picks coming full circle here. We're back to game 1, but because Izzy won the first game, he's the one that drew first blood, and you know, the back and forth of the counter pick game, if you win the first one, you get to make the final choice. You get to do the final counter pick. Zyctheshock doesn't have a chance to go over to Scorpion again. He has to do it here and now with Kung Lao. Scorpion cannot save him anymore. So that's what Izzy's trying to bank on. That Zyctheshock didn't like this matchup, didn't win it last time. Let's go ahead and fuck him up. Here's the thing, though. He just lost 40% of his health and 2 bars of defensive meter off the rip. Zyctheshock is on to something here. Another thing to note as well, the last time that they fought, Zyctheshock was playing Buzzsaw Kung Lao. He was not playing Spiritual Guidance. He was playing Buzzsaw. What does Zyctheshock do now? He's got Spiritual Guidance. Opening move, Spiritual Guidance. Straight into the launcher. Straight into the launcher. Very first thing he's done is knock Izzy out of the sky. I don't know why Izzy's jumping in, but Izzy has incentive to jump around because he's got that arrow CP charge. If your opponent has moves that work from the air, it is that much more likely that you will see them jumping around to do those moves. So if you have a dedicated anti-air, you can feel that much more confident looking for that, because why else would you take that move? That's a whole slot you wasted if you're not going to be jumping up and doing shit. So let me go ahead and put some don't you fucking dare up there and see what happens. And if you can deter them from jumping, guess who just wasted a slot? Your opponent did. Also, wasted 2 bars of defensive meter. This is such a big momentum swing for Zyctheshock, especially when Izzy's feeling confident at the start. He's got the counter pick, and Zyctheshock makes these big callouts. Here's the punish now on the flamethrower. Izzy got away with a flamethrower on block arguably too many times in their previous encounter. It was happening a lot, and Zyctheshock just wasn't punishing it. It was happening in the Scorpion matchup too. No punishes, but here Zyctheshock came to play. So he's going to cash out big damage, and because that armor break happened earlier, he eats the 41%, and then he eats another 30 on top of it. No defensive meter to stop it, and no defensive meter to wake up, to roll. He has to hold the Oki follow-up here as well. So getting your armor broken by Kung Lao like this just allows him to steamroll you. This round has only been 15 seconds long. A hit here for Izzy, but I mean, Zyctheshock's got the meter, got the damage, does not need much more. 6 health left, and this Z-Hat closes it out. So Zyctheshock now on set point, and I think a big part of that was the armor break allowed him to guarantee the rest of that follow-up damage. Like, he was able to take so much momentum. It wasn't just 40%. It was the inability for your opponent to get out of it afterward as well that allowed him to continue to stack his lead that much higher. And now Izzy's just trying to challenge. You see him going for these full screen, or these max distance flamethrowers, trying to catch Zyctheshock moving in. There's the throw. Look at that, though. Zyctheshock jumping out of it. Another change in game plan. Their prior meeting, Izzy, I don't think I remember Zyctheshock jumping out of the throws from Izzy. I don't think that was something I saw happening. But now Zyctheshock has made an adaptation. He's made a change, making these reads, and he's going to cash out 32% for it. Not bad in the damage department. There is a launcher here, but the thing is the last time that Izzy got launched by this move, Zyctheshock snapped his armor. So now Izzy doesn't want to break. He doesn't want to go for a breakaway because he's already seen what happens when he does, and that allows Zyctheshock to just let rip with his normal combo. He's conditioned his opponent to be afraid. He goes for the armor break that time, kind of figuring that Izzy was like, oh, I'm dead if I don't. Dropped combo, though, allows him to live, but, I mean, he's just going to go ahead and open him up with a throw afterward. The bonus health from the recent patch is all that's keeping Izzy alive right now. Spiritual Guidance coming out. He's still got the Z-Hat, too. This is a completely different build. So the Z-Hat comes out, and I actually am just noticing for the first time, I didn't see this before, Izzy tried to, because, so we talked about it earlier, that you can use the shield to eat the buzzsaw, but it doesn't help you in that Kung Lao still can move behind it, yada yada yada, and the only reason to do that would be if you need to save yourself from the damage. That the chip or the life lead, like you really need to just, your life bar needs to be protected at all costs. Who cares if Kung Lao is moving in? I need to protect my life bar. And that's what this is right now. Izzy's life bar has nothing left in it. Z-Hat is going to start to eat away at his defensive meter. Zyctheshock's been unloading lots of Z-Hats before. So what Izzy does here, the Z-Hat comes, I think he blocks this one, which now forces him to, he can no longer block anymore. He's got 3 health. It will start to eat his defensive meter. He is putting up the shield. He's trying to projectile parry. That is what Izzy is doing right now. But guess what? This is not a projectile. This does not interact with projectile parries, or at least not with this one, because as I say that, I believe that Rain's Quantum Rift eats one of these bubbles. The problem is, though, is that it's 4 bubbles, so the Rift for Rain, at least, Rain's Rift eats one of the bubbles, and then the other one catches you. So what may have even happened here, for example, would have been this 3rd bubble hits the parry, but then the 4th bubble that comes out still hits RoboCop. Now, I think RoboCop's is one that you can hold, so I'm not actually sure how it ended up working out, but he ends up actually getting hit here and brutality'd. It may be that that doesn't work. I'll have to do some labbing on that to see how that interacts, but interesting use of that, and the parry that he was trying to use to stop projectiles not working on that spirit stance, and able to allow Zyctheshock to not only kill him or take the victory, but get the brutality as well for the bonus style points. So very clean finish there by Zyctheshock.
Okay.
Now, Zyctheshock goes on to win this tournament as well. Spoiler alert, he is the champion here. This is his first Nightmare Series victory. He had a super awesome run making his way through it. So big shout out to Zyctheshock. This is a great run for him and his first time winning a Nightmare Series. And his Kung Lao was a big part of that. So big shout outs to Zyctheshock. And of course, this was only week 1 of the Nightmare Series. It is an 8-week series, so if you have an Xbox and access to an Ethernet cable, definitely get signed up for that. It is the biggest tournament on the Xbox side of things, so make sure that you guys out there with an Xbox are getting signed up for that. If you'd like to sign up for the Nightmare Series, the link to do so is smash.gg/dreammk. That's smash.gg/dreammk. That is where you can sign up. There's also other social links available as well. You can go ahead and DM me on Twitter or Discord or anything like that if you need any help signing up. But smash.gg/dreammk is the sign up link for that. And that is going to do it for today's episode of Match Analysis. Thanks for hanging out, checking out this Nightmare Series match, and we'll see you on the next one.